Hey, I have a question for you. It's Friday. So here's the question I have for you. Did you? Did you? And you're going, did I what? And I'm saying, exactly. Did you? So here's the thing we need to think about here. Um, did you do what you said you were going to do when you planned out your week on Sunday? This past Sunday, in fact. So that's a good question, isn't it? We need to talk about this a little bit more because there's a lot to this. There's a lot of really good insight in this concept to help you be more productive. So let's talk about it. So you know that I ask you to pull out your planner on Sundays and write down what you're going to do for the week, right? And you have like big goals, little goals, you have things you want to accomplish, whatever. And the question is, did you? If you pulled that thing out, would you just be going, nope, 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 nope? Because it's an interesting concept. And here's something that I find fascinating. This is really fascinating. Do you know when you get the most work done? Do you know when? It's not at the beginning of a goal. It's at the end of a deadline. The end of a deadline. So this week has a deadline, right? Let's pretend today's the deadline, the end of the day today. So it is 7:43 a.m. Mountain Time. Those of you on the East Coast, you got a little bit less time. Those of you on the West Coast, you have a little bit more. Hawaii, you have even more. But the reality is, here's the fact. You said you were going to do something this week. And the question I have is, did you? Did you? Maybe that was a little more prospecting for your business. Maybe that was you had to talk to certain people. Maybe that was getting a deal done this week or really working hard on something for yourself personally. Maybe it was adjust your diet. Maybe it was start working out. Maybe it was go meditate. I don't know. Or maybe it was contact some family members and just say, hey, I love you. I wanted to see how you're doing. So the question is, did you? So it's fascinating because on this week, I don't know if you get the Darren Daily videos. If you don't, go to darrendaily.com. My friend Darren Hardy puts out a daily video on weekdays. He talked about something called Parkinson's Law. This is not Parkinson's disease. This is Parkinson's Law, which was actually started as a humorous article in 1955 by Cyril Parkinson, who wrote an article in The Economist about this. And essentially what Cyril talked about was the project you have will fit in the time you give it. So if you give something a week to get done, you know what? You're going to take a week to do it. And most of the work will be done at the back end of that week. So when you think about this situation. You get a lot done right before you go on vacation, right? I mean, that's realistically what a lot of business leaders say is they say, if you want to get something done, plan a vacation at the end of that project. And it's kind of a cool concept because it makes you get it done. You don't want to go into your vacation with that weighing on your head, weighing on yourself. I mean, it's kind of fun to think about it that way, but it's also not fun, is it? It's really not very good time management and emotional maturity. I'll say it, emotional maturity, managing your choices. Don't cram your choices to the end of your goal. Cram your choices to the beginning of your goal and shorten your goals. Shorten the time that you allocate yourself in order to get these things done. This is really important. Really important. So think about this. Let's say you're a salesperson and you work a shift, if you will. So you give yourself a time limit to work. And let's say that you're a salesperson, you've given yourself 8 hours to contact 50 people. Now, you might start strong and get 10 right out of the chute, and you got 40 left. And then you figure out something else to do, and you've got Facebook, and you've got, whatever else. You get hungry, you're at the water cooler or the coffee pot, or you just get distracted playing with the dog because you're working at home, whatever it might be. And hour 7 hits and you're like, I've got 40 left. How does that feel? Not so good. But what if you convinced yourself that, hey, I'm going to hammer out for the next 7 hours. I'm going to call it 7 or 8 of these things an hour. You're done before your time is done. Or maybe you front load the whole thing. Maybe you front load it. You can get a lot done if you plan for it. And if you just think about Parkinson's law and how do we compress this? There are a lot of books written about this, a lot of things you can go out and take a look at that help you understand. You look at like the 4-hour work week and things like that, of how do you create the most productivity in the shortest amount of time. But ultimately, you're not in this for a sprint, because business and life are a marathon. You're not just living this week, okay? You're not living this week. You're living a lifetime. So how do we take and create this emotional maturity, this choice management? Because emotional maturity is choice management. It is being able to decide to do the things you need to do when you need to do them, instead of letting something else come in and take your attention away and steer you off someplace where you don't get that stuff done. This is emotional maturity. So how do we handle our emotional maturity? We have personal accountability. And through that emotional maturity and that personal accountability, we can take Parkinson's law and compress it into a period of time that things need to be done. And then, you know what that does? That gives us the most valuable resource we can possibly have in our lives: time. Gives us time back. And then we can reinvest that in other things. So there's a lot of really, really good information in this thought of Parkinson's law, in this question of did you? Because when I said did you and you said did I what, and I said exactly, it means you didn't have a plan. You didn't have a plan. Or maybe you said, did I get the things done that I planned to do this week? Yeah, I did. And I got Friday back as a result. Because you know what Friday is? Friday's a leverage day. It's a leverage day. That's when you make your money, is on those leverage days. That's when you get everything else done. You're like, ooh, bonus time. Now I can really accelerate my success. And maybe that comes from, let's say you're trying to adjust your diet and you've worked hard through the week and you're like, wow, there's just this one thing. What do you do with that bonus time? Go clean out your pantry, adjust your diet, or take a look at your workout plan and give everything 10% more than you did last week, this next week. Or maybe it's a sales acceleration. And instead of contacting X number of people this week and saying why, you contact X plus 10 and say a new why. Think about that. How do you continue to make yourself better? What is this called? This is called incremental improvement. It's called Kaizen. It's called the aggregation of marginal gain. It's a concept that's talked about in a lot of business books. Jim Collins' Good to Great is a great example. When you look at the British cycling team and Sir David Brailsford and how he implemented that into their cycling team in order to win some gold medals at the Olympics, as well as continued success at the Tour de France. Same thing. You understand all these concepts, you put them together to make these little bitty changes. But you can't make those changes if you look in the rearview mirror and go, I used up all my time. Because it takes time to make change. That is the key to success, is creating time to make the changes necessary. Instead of checking the box and going, I'm almost there. Because you know what? We've taught ourselves that it's okay to almost get there. And I'm not saying that you seek perfection. I'm saying you seek done. You seek performance. You seek okay, I'm going to make this happen, because let's face it, done is better than perfect, because if you're done, you can go back and you can figure out what makes perfect. If you're done, you can go back and figure out what makes perfect. But you'll never figure out what makes perfect if you'll never get done. So take a look at this concept. Take a look at what you planned for last week. You did do that, didn't you? If you didn't, sit down and write down, what did you want to accomplish this week, and did you accomplish it? Because Friday's a bonus day. This is when you make your money. Take advantage of that. When you make your money in your business, you make your money in your relationships, you make your money in your health, you make your money in your happiness. We work hard to get there. And that's how you compress your work week, how you take Parkinson's law and make it into Parkinson's leverage. That's what I got for you today. It's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Take a look around, figure out where you can implement that, and put it in play. Got a few comments here. By the way, I mentioned Darren Daly this morning. Darren, if you're watching it, hello, buddy, or Julie, or anybody on the A team. If you do not do that, go subscribe to darrendaily.com. darrendaily.com. Also, be sure to check out my podcast, Start With a Win, at startwithawin.com, or wherever you get your podcast. We talk about a lot of concepts like this, just little reminders to help keep making you get better, helping you with that little fuel. So, hello to my friends out there. We got John, Joe, Denise, Will, Rachel. Got a few folks out there on this live broadcast. We're broadcasting on about 6 or 7 different platforms right now. So everybody have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you again soon on video. Got some great things. I was at some amazing mastermind meetings this week, and I'd love to share them with you. Have a great weekend. Love you guys.